right off again. We've got about 3 hours to make it down to 60s, and we are passing through the causeway. Just about. We should be skipping through the islands here pretty soon. So what we did yesterday is, so we're leaving from Bradenton, essentially, Bradenton, Sarasota area of Florida, and headed down to Key West. The total distance was about 6.5 hours. And just for our first solo long distance trip or semi-long distance trip, I didn't want to try and do that all at one time. We also need to arrive at the base before 3:30 in the afternoon to make sure that we can talk to the office folk. They do have camp hosts as well that will host you from 3:30 until sunset, but you know, you never know what's going to happen, and I'm a big planner to make sure I have as many contingencies as possible. So the kiddos are still resting, and now that I'm fueled with my coffee, we're heading out. And so with only three more hours to go, we should get there perfectly within a time frame of the early check-in, right around 11:30 in the morning. So I'll pause here for a minute. Mama Lear's having fun on her way down to Key West in my 21Z Chateau with a Ford chassis. So stay tuned, and I'll bring you more in shortly. Mama Lear's again. I wanted to give you a little more tidbit about Florida and visiting national parks. So national parks in Florida, we actually have three. We have Biscayne, Everglades, and off the coast of Key West is Dry Tortuga. What's interesting to know is there is a crossroads of Route 1, where if you are coming from the north going south to Key West on Route 1, you can turn right and go to the Everglades, and the visitor center is only about 20 miles down the street. Or you can go left and go to Biscayne National Park. Biscayne is Benjamin's favorite national park. Barron really liked it, but because he found fossils out in the Badlands, that will probably eternally remain his number one. But that said, it's kind of cool to know that you can hit 3 national parks in a long weekend. It would be rushed, but you could do it if you had to, with a little bit of prior planning. When we started our national parks tour, it was just to take off and do something. We had just come back from overseas, former military and federal civilian, so I was looking to reconnect with the kids post-divorce. You know, the saga continues, and to maybe not reconnect, that's not the right word, I've always been connected with the kids, but to say take those personal moments, realize that time is what matters and what's important, and quality time, spending it doing something fun if possible, is pretty ideal. I mean, it may be the mundane things of the day-to-day that, you know, in the long run, that's what makes the lasting memories. But I love the idea of thinking back on different moments and them thinking about us doing this together. So that was the whole reason behind the RV and the National Parks Tour. We originally started the 63 national parks in 365, and quickly got tiresome of having to do the ranger books or travel, not to mention the expense of it, when I was getting involuntarily retired from the federal government. So that made it a little bit difficult. But starting in Florida was pretty cool because we have the 3 national parks. So we just went off on a long weekend, hit the Everglades. I did an airboat tour through the Everglades, and the kids saw a lot of really cool stuff. You can see the boat ride in a previous video on Mama Lear's channel. So feel free, you'll see some dolphins dancing, and we got to see the spoonbill birds, the pink birds that are not flamingos. So here's some of the first shots of water for the day. Pretty soon this is going to go from 4-lane into a 2-lane, so it's just about being courteous and making sure slower vehicles get out of the way. I mean, if people want to fly down here, it doesn't matter to me. I hope that they're just being safe, right? So I'll get out of their way and let them do what they got to do. Speed limit's only 45 at this moment. It just changed from 55 to 45. So back to Biscayne. 2 of the national parks in Florida are off the coast. So Biscayne is, I think they said 90% water. So you have to make sure that you're planning a boat ride if you want to go out to Biscayne. And then Dry Tortuga is accessible by both a ferry and waterplane. So 2 times previously we've tried the waterplane and we just got weathered out. So this time, right after Christmas and New Year, I booked the ferry for a random date in May, which happened to be Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to me. These are the kind of memories that I want to share with the boys for my special days. But remember to call your mothers. And so that took that amount of time. And then I realized in March that I really needed to kind of buckle down and figure out where we were going to stay. So the Navy base down here, they charge about $50 a night. Most of the military bases are anywhere from $30 to $50. And you get to stay and you get the full hookups. And this one in particular is beachfront, so the kids will get to swim. And we'll really get to enjoy Key West versus having to worry about how much we were spending on accommodations and things. And I also had bought the scooters and we brought them along with us, so we don't have to worry about parking this Class C, which is only 24 feet long, but you can't get it through the Key West streets without people getting really angry. So more to follow there as we continue to head our way south into Key West and ultimately Dry Tortuga. That's some of the ending of the Everglades National Park down there where the mangroves are, and you see the salt water out further to the right. And then over here we also have some of the Everglades, so this kind of goes up and over all of it. And the mangroves, as everybody knows, it's a transitioning of water. They're one of the few trees that are able to live in both saltwater and freshwater, and so they help to purify that and give us drinking water. Look at this genius over here. He thinks it's cool to play rap and it with his bass is so ridiculous. Welcome to traffic on the way down to Key West. Now we get to listen to F words and N words all the way down. Hopefully we don't get stuck beside him for the rest of the way. Hey, interesting point I just saw, and I noticed it one of the other times we came down here. There is a VA outpatient clinic on Key Largo. So I'm going to purposely go a little bit slower, not to get behind this wonderful S10 pickup truck with the negative music playing. You can listen to whatever you want, but do you have to share it with us? I got 2 kids here. I don't need them listening to this stuff.